In his appeal battle, Josh Duggar is accused of breaking the law, and a prosecutor has begged the court to deny his request for a new trial in his child pornography case. Josh, 37, is presently incarcerated for 151 months in FCI Segoville in Dallas, Texas, for child pornography-related charges. The date of his release is December 23, 2032. Josh is now defending himself in his attempt to overturn the conviction, despite the fact that he has already made numerous unsuccessful attempts. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's eldest son claims that his constitutional rights were violated in a number of ways and that he was deprived of a fair trial. The prosecution has now requested confirmation of the conviction from the Arkansas court handling the case in response to Josh's plea. According to court documents obtained exclusively by the U.S. Sun, the case's main prosecutor alleged that Josh had broken the rules when he filed the appeal petition. According to court records, one of the documents submitted to the court did not have a visible postmark, failed to travel through the U.S. postal system, and said that purchased postage was not included. According to the court documents, a third party must have physically dropped document 179 off at the clerk's office. One issue for Duggar is that inmates who have their pleas forwarded to third parties, who then forward them to the court, are not subject to the mailbox rule. Furthermore, according to the court documents, Josh did not send a submission to the prison mail on the designated day. As noted above, it is Duggar's burden to show he satisfied the prison mailbox rule requirements. The application continues. Due to contradictory and inexplicable facts, Duggar has not fulfilled his obligation under the prison mailbox rule in this instance, and as a result, his request is premature. According to the court filings, the United States respectfully requests that Duggar's motion to vacate, set aside, or correct sentence by a person in federal custody be denied. This was in addition to the previously listed rules that were not being observed. Each of Anna Duggar's puppies costs an insane $2,000, and her husband Josh finds it difficult to handle his money while he is confined. In addition, the briefs request that the court deny any motion by Duggar for a certificate of appealability for his failure to make a substantial showing that he was denied a constitutional right. According to a previous article in the U.S. Sun, one of the reasons was uncorroborated and prejudicial testimony from Bobby Holt, a family friend and his ex-girlfriend's mother. Along with the state's denials, the reasons for overturning the guilty judgment include an agent's alleged perjury, false testimony by a government agent, the exclusion of evidence about an alternative perpetrator during the trial, and other similar issues. The appeal is still pending and no final decision has been rendered. Josh already disclosed his financial situation to the U.S. Sun. He is defending himself in court since he cannot afford an attorney. As of April 2025, Josh had only 22 cents in his account and owed 2 cents. He described his situation in detail in his statement, including his assets, savings, income from no other source, and absence of job. Josh claimed in court records that he was not receiving payment for his time spent on a jail labor assignment. Move-In is therefore excused from disclosing any earnings from her employment. Move-In does not currently own any real estate or personal belongings. Josh claims that while he is incarcerated, even his loved ones have ceased sending him money. He went on to claim that he owed money for legal restitution and fines related to earlier court cases. According to court records, Josh asserts that he is entitled to relief and unable to pay the cost of these proceeds. Josh had requested that the court give him new lawyers so that he may file an appeal on May 12, according to an earlier story in the U.S. Sun. Josh claims that there are complex constitutional and evidentiary issues in his case, such as legal judgments and trial strategy, potential Brady violations, and errors in the inclusion of forensic evidence. All potential grounds for relief must be thoroughly examined and evaluated by knowledgeable legal counsel since they can be relevant to a collateral attack. New legal theories and strategies have emerged in public discourse that may be relevant to the defendant's case since his trial in 2021, he claims. Josh said that his lack of legal expertise and experience makes him unfit to carry out an independent investigation. Josh used the phrase, unable to afford counsel, to characterize his current financial circumstances. In a letter obtained by the U.S. Son, Josh begged Judge Timothy L. Brooks to help with the request. Josh's letter to the court overseeing his trial on May 12, 2025, started, I am currently detained and proceeding pro se. The court should assign a lawyer to examine my case and, if required, submit a petition to reverse, dismiss, or amend my conviction and sentence. I have prioritized continuing my education, growing as a person, bolstering my faith, and maintaining relationships with my loved ones while I'm incarcerated. I seek the expertise of knowledgeable counsel to help me determine if relief is warranted because I am unable to adequately consider these things on my own. Josh's desire to hire a new legal team was turned down, but after reviewing the case, he feels that there are important problems with trial mistakes, evidence decisions, and other constitutional infractions that call for a careful post-conviction review. Despite not having a legal team, Josh continued to pursue the appeal. Josh has battled to challenge the judgment and defend his innocence since his sentencing in May 2022. Josh initially challenged his verdict in October 2022. In August 2023, the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals denied his request for a new trial. Justin Gelfand, Josh's lawyer at the time, claimed that during a raid at his car dealership 15 months before his arrest, federal agents confiscated his phone when Josh tried to call his lawyer. He spoke to the agents as he had no legal counsel. It is true that the agents read him his Miranda rights, which ordinarily might leave someone with the impression they are in custody. The court documents stated in reference to the ruling to deny the new trial, but after he signed the acknowledgement of rights, Duggar had the agents scratch out the part of the document that said he was being taken into custody. After making the required adjustments to the documentation, he was permitted to go. The second and third causes also benefit the government. Duggar sat shotgun in the agent's truck for the questioning. The man retained freedom of movement throughout the encounter as they did not handcuff him. The doors remained unlocked, and he entered and exited the front seat of the vehicle on his own. The agents initiated contact with Duggar, but he voluntarily acquiesced to the interrogation. While continuing to converse with them, he actually began the interview by asking, has somebody been downloading child pornography? For almost an hour. At the end of the interrogation, Duggar was not arrested. Unexpectedly, he willingly ended the conversation and left the dealership, hardly a decision a person in captivity would make. The final sentence of the ruling said, "We accordingly affirm the judgment of the district court." The Supreme Court later rejected the conviction appeal in June 2024. Josh Duggar, the former star of 19 Kids and Counting, was sentenced to 151 months in prison in December 2021 after entering a guilty plea to downloading and possessing photos of child sex assault. The following is a timeline of the former reality star's legal issues. Josh was first suspected of collecting materials that might be used to sexually abuse minors following an investigation by Homeland Security investigators in May 2019. Homeland Security authorities raided Josh's PC at the car dealership where he worked in late November. Josh was arrested on April 29, 2021, and was held without bond in a prison in Arkansas. He was charged with receiving and possessing images of child sex abuse and was arraigned the next day in a Zoom hearing before the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Arkansas. He pleaded not guilty. Josh's federal trial began in Fayetteville, Arkansas, on November 30, 2021, and concluded on December 9, 2021. He was found guilty of receiving and knowing about child sex abuse. In May 2022, Josh received a $50,100 fine and was required to pay extra assessments on top of his 12-year imprisonment. Later, in the second half of 2023, Josh's defense team appealed to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, but their plea was denied. Shortly thereafter, Josh's attorney appealed for a new trial, pointing out that federal authorities had denied Josh the right to call them while they were taking him into custody. On June 24, 2024, Josh's request was once again turned down. Josh, his wife Anna, 37, and their 7 kids live in a massive $1 million property in Arkansas. On April 15, 2025, Jim Bob, 59, used an LLC he owned to purchase a home for $1 million.